So those schools that I support those two.
Hey, how are you?
Sort of come up from.
Right.
Almost every system has one.
Almost every system has
Just about every
so
system.
somewhere in your parish.
Yes, you're gonna study that year for those kids. Who gets?
So they have information on people that are doing the hard work around our state. Good to know. If you do, pass it down. Oh, yeah, sure. Just look at you
right here as well.
Now, I have
Three.
I normally have it in my backpack.
in the binder full. That's a good one. That's what I do too. Sometimes I'll take a
Very.
a hairspray.
Better to.
It's official. One more.
Takes four. I
think I counted.
I don't count. I don't count.
It works.
Okay. Behind my snack.
3, 2, 1.
Same thing, Susanna. I
Behind my snack, behind my cashews.
3.
Now, Saber said Marcus was coming.
Yeah, texted saying yes.
Huh?
He texted saying-
And then,
I said, call me if you get lost.
doesn't he live in Lafayette? You shouldn't be.
So you get lost.
He thought it wouldn't take him that long to get here, maybe.
I think you're good to roll, and then you can always come back to the minute. Let's do that.
We have 2 minutes.
If you want.
Yes, ma'am. Goodness for me. Ma'am. Because you don't have to get lost anymore.
And Alicia shared us the GPS location.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
You don't have to get lost anymore, and there's no unanswerable questions. Of course, there really are.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Down here?
Yes.
Okay. Teacher voice, right? Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the June Dual Enrollment Task Force meeting. Kim Hunter-Reid, Commissioner of Higher Education. Certainly want to start by saying how grateful we are to our hosts for welcoming us to LSUE. We had a great tour, a fantastic lunch, and we're excited about learning more about the work that's happening here in today's meeting. So special thanks to Chancellor Sorensen, who I think will be visiting in a minute, and certainly Alicia Fontenot for just exceptional hospitality for today's meeting. So thank you. Very well. Also want to welcome 2 designees who are joining us today. First, representing the Louisiana Association of School Superintendents. On behalf of David Claxton, we're pleased to have Ms. Carol Tall, Superintendent of Acadia Parish School System. Thank you for joining us. We also hope to welcome Virginia Mays, who has not made it here yet.
She didn't know she was.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So,
Tea for you, right?
Mays is President-elect of the Louisiana Association for Career and Technical Education.
Awesome.
And she's serving as the Louisiana ACTE designee, and she makes the quorum. We are very happy to have you with us as well. Welcome. And of course, all the guests who are here from various campuses. So with that, I will ask Yari if she will call the roll so we can get our meeting started.
Everyone. Okay, so Mr. Marcus Thomas. Dr. Kim Hunter-Reid.
Here.
Dr. Ernest Singleton.
Present.
Mr. President Castile. Dr. Janet Pope. Ms. Carol Tall.
Here.
Dr. Stella Araby. Miss Robin Bentley.
Stella's here. You said here. Oh, yeah. Is she here? Okay.
Robin Bentley. Dr. Janine O'Rourke. Mr. Barry Irwin.
Here.
Dr. Erin Bentley.
I'm here virtually.
Caroline Romer. Miss Patrice Antoine.
Here.
Miss Virginia Mays.
Here.
Miss Julie Stokes.
Here.
And we have a quorum today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yari. Appreciate it. Now let me ask you for a motion to approve the February 2026 minutes, which were sent to you in advance and are in your folder. So is there a motion to approve minutes? Dr. Araby, is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Singleton, the motion has been made. Any discussion, any opposition? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, so today's meeting, we want to provide a brief update from this year's legislative session. We made it.
That's good.
As you know, the session concluded on June 1st. There is Marcus. Hey, Marcus, right over here. Thank you for joining us. So Marcus Thompson's here with the governor's office. Really appreciate him driving in. So the legislative session concluded earlier this month. Several pieces of legislation were passed that impact this task force. So I want to share a little bit about that information. First, Act 438 by Representative Brass. It has two parts to it. It requires the establishment and administration of a statewide application process. You all will recall that we had some of the institutions that are piloting this uniform application come and address the task force. And so now there's legislation requiring that all of the institutions adopt this uniform application process. I think they have until August of 27. So we have a year for implementation for that to occur. The legislation also requires uniform pricing, uniform dual enrollment rate pricing. And so we will be working with this task force, of course, with the management boards to make sure that we have uniform pricing for career technical education as well as academic courses. So just wanted to make you aware of that first bill, Act 438. Second, Act 794, also by Representative Brass, who, as you all know, is quite the dual enrollment champion. This one allows successful completion of 9 credit hours of dual enrollment to be used as one of the ways to qualify for TOPS Tech. And so we're very excited about that. TOPS Tech is underutilized. We want to see more people participating. And so we think as we keep leaning into dual enrollment, successful dual enrollment, it does increase the pathways for success for students. And so dual enrollment, as well as AP and industry-based certifications will be pathways for TOPS Tech eligibility. So we hope that you will help us spread the word about those, and we certainly will continue to talk about those as well. So before we move on, are there any other pieces of legislation that the task force members want to highlight that we should be aware of? Barry, anything else that you think of? I know you all worked on a lot of workforce, career alignment. Ernest, you did as well. Any other bills you think we should be thinking about or be aware of?
You know, as we walked this morning, and they talked about the information, the job fairs, and whatnot she talked about. And so one is HB 268, which has to do with career awareness. And that is one that they want us to move career awareness, it's hard to say sometimes.
Yes.
Down, you know, really focus on that middle school level and their required things that have to be done. And so hearing about the job fairs that occur between LSU, Eunice, and St. Landry, I'm like, oh, I was taking notes. My people need to come and see this and see what happens.
That's right.
And the notion of providing some of that even at the elementary level, because they have to do it at the elementary level too.
Yeah.
It's never too early to expose our young people to the various careers that are out there. So knowing that, like that sonography, did I say it right? That program is so competitive. You know, I mean, that's a area that people need to know about, because that's the area that the lady also told us that is growing.
Yes.
And they need people constantly. And as our population gets older, they definitely do. So,
There's so few schools that do sonography, and we only have 4 in the state.
Right, yes.
So, you know,
And
that's.
if each
that's
one only
awesome.
has eight spots,
Yeah.
it's very competitive.
Yeah.
They 8 to 10 is the max for every one of the schools.
So that bill right there is one that we're really focused on, is making sure that we are providing that opportunity for our young people to know about the various careers that are out there.
Yes.
And you know, the notion of utilizing colleges like LSUE that provide that service in a year and a few months. Yeah, right.
Excellent. Barry, anything else?
Yeah, I was gonna say, there was a lot of workforce related legislation and it wasn't exactly tied to dual enrollment, but I kind of think a lot of it's in the same family. There's part of it's gonna be a work-based learning task force that really gonna try and take a look at the lay of the land of work-based learning opportunities around the state. We know we have them. We don't always know where they are. There's not anybody to really coordinate that. And that would be kind of step one, is kind of understand the lay of the land on that, but also maybe make some recommendations for maybe a permanent agency or something to be housed in an agency that could really connect students, high school and college students, you know, with work-based learning opportunities. And the other one, there's another task force. There were a lot of task forces in
Yes.
session, dealing with jumpstart pathways, but basically those are career pathways, you know, for kids in high school, to kind of take a look at some of that again. And I think dual enrollment, you know, kind of fits in there as well, because if you're on dual enrollment, you know, taking dual enrollment, maybe you want to understand some of those career pathways while you're still in high school. So I think there are a lot of things that are kind of cousins of our, you know, dual enrollment work that they did pass this year. So I think there's a lot on that front.
That's great. Anyone else? Yes.
And Dr. Reed, I know Erin can hear, Dr. Bendeley can hear us. She last minute was unable to join us. And so she put, I think the legislation you were just mentioning, Mary, she put that in the chat for a SCR 65 and the crossover with dual enrollment work. So just wanted to share, she's joining us virtually.
Thank you, Erin.
The audio to us is not the best, but she can hear us really well.
Okay, great. We appreciate that. We appreciate her testifying in support of legislation as well.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate, and all of you who continue to show up and talk about the importance and help to make sure that the work we're doing is spot on to what you need, because you all are in the field and you know it best. And so we benefit tremendously from a highly engaged dual enrollment task force. So really appreciate that from each of you. Another item that I want to mention, and maybe I'll kick it to Dr. Craig, around 529 and the education savings plan. I think there's a flyer.
There is, it's in their folder.
Oh, yeah. Can you mention
Sure.
529?
Just to let you know, with the big beautiful bill, the rules surrounding 529 have changed. And just to let you know that families can use their 529 accounts to pay for dual enrollment expenses, as well as to pay for any testing expenses that they may need, ACT expenses or any type of testing. So that's a been a fairly recent development, but all of our information that has gone out to parents currently reflects that is a qualified expense now, that if they have a 529 account that they've started saving, whether it's a 529 K-12 account or a 529 a start account to save for college expenses, they can actually use those expenses for dual enrollment while they are still in high school. So we wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
Thank you for that. And Dr. Craig not only is our Deputy Commissioner for Student Success, but also is leading LOSFA. And so all things financial aid are running through her. So if you need more of these flyers or other things, please see her. Her
Okay.
team does 600-700 outreach events throughout the state. But as we get updates of things like this, it would be great for parents to know about that. Not only to save for college, but to know that they can use it for dual enrollment. Because when I heard about it, I was like, what?
Mhm.
We need to share that.
Right.
Yes, so I did not know. So news we can use. All right. We have our wonderful chancellor with us. Dr.
Good afternoon.
Sorensen, thank you. Let me turn it
Yes.
over to you.
Oh, well, first of all, thank all of you for being here at the Louisiana State University Eunice campus. I know it is a hot day out there, and that you all took a campus tour. We're thrilled to have all of you here today, so we really thank you for being here and engaging with us. we're very proud of the work that we're doing in dual enrollment. We have Alicia Montno with us, who was a very seasoned high school counselor when she came to us. She literally has been a driving force in transforming our dual enrollment in LSU Academy program. I cannot say enough to the accomplishments that have happened under her leadership. You also know from our numbers that we're a very large enrollment provider of dual enrollment across the state. I believe that we have students in almost every parish, across the state. So, in keeping with our system president's words that he talks about quite frequently, we see this as literally changing, helping to change the way that we educate students, all across the state of Louisiana. We have some great folks with us here today, Dr. Therese Ellender and Gregory Campbell, who are among our great partners in dual enrollment. So I think that you're going to enjoy, this presentation. Dual enrollment is really one of the greatest values that our state can provide to families and citizens. Dual enrollment, as many of us know, has been around a while. It really started with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the early college program, in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's expanded to what we see it in today. So I applaud our state for taking advantage of what it brings to so many young people. I'm in awe of the number of high school juniors and seniors who give up really large amounts of their time in order to pursue dual enrollment. They're giving up a tremendous part of their regular day to not only be earning, to be in a full-fledged college course, but to somehow blend it in among all the other activities and kind of fun things that they want to do. Honestly, I don't know if I would have done that. I mean, but high schools are very different, now than they were. But I'm in awe of their dedication to really put their nose to the grindstone and pursue these courses at a higher level of academic rigor. I'm very much in favor of the common application that we're moving to. I think that's going to be a great plus for families and parents to have one application that they deal with rather than a host of them. But I do want to just briefly address, and Dr. Reed has heard me talk about this before, briefly address some of the challenges of dual enrollment from a fiscal higher ed perspective. It's fabulous that our students, we have our students are paying $100 a credit hour, no fees, no other types of tuition is attached to that. However, I mean, it is a challenge for long-term sustainability when it really does not cover the true cost of instruction for us. I don't have any immediate answers as to which magic bucket of funds that should come from our state. We all know the challenges of the resources that we have. We're all competing out of a finite pot. But I did want to just bring that forward as a challenge. It doesn't mean that we want to back down from our commitment to do that. But it really does not reflect the true cost of instruction. I also am wondering if I think dual enrollment will evolve. Dual enrollment, we obviously have workforce-based dual enrollment as well as traditional university credit. We need to have all of those avenues open, but I think what we're experiencing are some of the school districts starting to change the formula by which they fund dual enrollment because they have other fiscal challenges as well that are impinging on their school districts, other expenses that they have to pay for. So just wanted to mention that briefly. I by far I've always been a lifelong proponent of dual enrollment over AP credit. Dual enrollment is real college credit. AP credit is not. And I've worked in 4 different states, and I know that sometimes in K-12 that AP, having a lot of students in AP credit seemed more desirable, or it seemed more academically rigorous. But students pay a hefty price per exam, and if they don't pass it, they don't get the credit. So it's not necessarily the same case with dual enrollment. I see dual enrollment as the real test of a student being college ready, not an AP credit class. But we're thrilled that all of you are here, and thank you for giving me an opportunity, Dr. Reed.
Thank you so much. We had a great tour. We learned a lot. We saw some dual enrollment students
Yes.
that are about to graduate
Yes.
and doing amazing things. So
I'm astounded at the number of our students that earn certificates, but especially those that earn associate's degrees.
degrees, yes. So if I could turn it over to Dr. Fontenot.
No, not doctor.
Oh, sorry, Ms.
Go that
Fontenot,
far?
Ms. Fontenot, yes.
I'm okay with not having
I
that.
turn it over to you, and then you will introduce the guests and make sure and thank you for your hospitality. She's been phenomenal.
So my name is Alicia Fondo. I am the director of the LSUE Academy and dual enrollment. So here at LSUE, we have 2 dual enrollment programs. We have traditional dual enrollment for the kids that just want to try college. They're just going to take the English or the math or a history class. And then we have what I like to term to the children dual enrollment on steroids. And that is our academy. These are the kids that are going to be full-time college students for their last 2 years of high school in most cases. They are going to take 4 to 5 college classes per semester to get to the 60 hours, and they will graduate with their associate's degree by the time they end high school. So the guests that we have are from St. Landry Parish. It's one of my biggest partners that we have for dual enrollment. We have Dr. Ellender. She is the hardest working and probably the smartest woman that I know. I text her often saying, I need your brain. I need your brain. And then we have Mr. Campbell. He is, so Dr. Ellender is the CTE supervisor for St. Landry Parish, sorry. And Mr. Campbell is the principal of Opelousas High School in St. Landry Parish, but he is also a parent of one of those kids that did the academy. And he has one of my favorite children ever. I love him. He was in my office often. Especially when he wasn't quite agreeing with mom and daddy on where he should go next and what he said. Because it's different when I say the exact same thing that daddy says, but it's not daddy saying it. It makes a difference when it's not your parent. So the graphic we have on the screen kind of gives you an idea of where we are. We literally have students in every one of those gold areas. These are homeschool students. These are charter school, public school, private school. A bunch of my charter school kids are from LAFCA, the virtual charter school, so they literally live everywhere. Okay, so that's why I'm everywhere. I don't necessarily have a district MOU with each of these parishes, but I have children that live in each of these parishes. Maybe. Elena's gonna work.
How many parishes total?
We are right at 40-ish of students living in parishes.
Got it.
All right. MOUs though, I have 19 parishes that I have MOUs with. It will be 21 for this coming year. We just picked up Terrebonne and Iberia Parish, so they will be joining us. My furthest district is Jefferson. I have 2 schools in Jefferson Parish and Bienville out in God's country. If you have ever driven, didn't think I'd ever get to that school. So we'll have 21. We have 51 schools right now. That means I have 51 counselors that have my cell phone number and 51 counselors that will call me often. We also have a growing number of homeschool students. Okay. Very, very large number of homeschool students. Acadia Parish that Ms. Tall represents, she actually has a large number of what I like to fondly call private school, public school transplants, because mama has learned how to work the system and they stay private school until junior year. And then they switch to the public school that they are zoned for, which is in Acadia Parish. And they let Acadia Parish foot the LSUE tuition bill and they don't have to foot the private school tuition bill and they graduate from the public school. But she also had 3 students this year are in the allied health program that we were talking about during the tour. So our average enrollment is 1,000 students per academic year. I average a little over 1,000 in the fall and just below 1,000 in the spring, mainly because I have one parish that they only do dual enrollment in the fall. So they don't continue in the spring. So like I said, the academy is just a new approach to dual enrollment. These students are treated like college students. They will come to me for advising every semester like you would as a traditional college student. We will have discussions on what do you still have left for high school, because that's more important to me than this. We got to graduate. I will die of mortification if one of them doesn't graduate from high school. So we are going to take care of high school first. Then we will have the discussion, what are your future plans? Because these children are 16 and they change their minds often, which means to say a lot of my kids will graduate with general studies degrees because they have changed their mind so many times. It's the only thing I can use to get them out. Or they know exactly what they want, but LSUE may not have that particular degree, but I can pull up their Southern nursing degree and we're going to start filling in. And that's their electives for general studies. So although most of my kids will graduate with general studies, there's normally a plan that went with it. We are not just taking a bunch of random classes. That is a big no-no for me. I can't stand it. All right, so courses, they have different options for their courses. They can be face-to-face on our campus. We have on average 150 to 200 dual enrollment students on this campus at any given day. They can be online if they so choose. My own child did the academy. She chose to do fully online because she doesn't like people and they ask too many stupid questions. She's a turd. She's at LSU doing engineering and she needs to be in a cubicle somewhere. It's true. Online classes, the best thing with the online classes, especially for my super small schools, they are asynchronous. So my counselors don't have to schedule their master schedule around the LSUE classes. They can literally put them at any time. So some of my schools, like, I don't know if any of you have been to Beauregard Parish and Singer High School, their graduating class this coming year is going to be one of their largest ever, and it's like 23. It's the tiniest school ever. So for them to have to make their master schedule around me would never work. But because it's asynchronous, they have some flexibility there. It's also really good, the online classes, for my kids that still want to be fully involved with their high school. My band kids, they are busy all the time. My football players, my baseball players, and I have them all. My FFA kids, for God's sake, they are always on the road. Okay, so they need to have some flexibility. My basketball kids, their season never ends. So online gives them that ability to work in between their practices and their games. So it's allowed my kids to have the best of both worlds. All right, so we talked about cost and tuition. So just kind of give you an idea. Our tuition is $100 per credit hour. They pay an online fee of $50 if they take the class online. Some of them have a professor on their campus, so they get to do it face-to-face or they're taking it here face-to-face. But some of the options, so the chancellor talked about it. Dr. Ellender is fighting this. Ms. Hall is fighting this. There is a limited number of dollars, okay? And dual enrollment, through a variety of reasons, has become more and more and more popular. Okay, so the amount of money is still the same, but the popularity has grown. So everybody's facing this. So some of the things that we see, I have a few parishes that they still have some COVID money tree somewhere in the backyard. So they're still paying for the whole shebang. They're paying for everything. That is becoming rare. Okay. Some of my parishes will pay for tuition and parents pay for books. Some of my parishes will pay for a portion of tuition. Billing is an absolute nightmare. I'm going to be honest, for the colleges. It is an absolute nightmare. Like Beauregard Parish, they will pay half tuition and no fees. So the parents pay the other half and the fees. Some of my parish will pay all tuition, no books, but they only pay for a certain amount of hours. Some of the parishes have started increasing the acceptance criteria. Okay, so Board of Regents may have said, we can get you in with this, but the parish says, if you don't have this, we're not paying. And I have to have those discussions with the parents that it's the parish's money. If they want to do that, they can do it. You still have the right to pay if you want to. So there's lots and lots of different things that the parishes are starting to do. Some have started requiring the students that DWF out of class, parents have to pay them back, which that would be a county nightmare I would want to deal with, but they have it. So lots of parishes are starting to limit what they will pay. I have some parishes that will only pay for 4 classes total over a 2-year time period. Some will pay for 4 or 5 classes per academic year. Everyone is different. It's just depending on, their tax base and what money they have available from them. Many of them, St. Landry Parish is also one of them. Acadia Parish is also one. If a student DWFs out of a class, they're going to stop funding, period. Okay. Or they'll stop funding for that subject area. Some, they'll let you have 1 DWF, but you get your second one, they're out. Okay. It's now on mom and daddy to pay. So these are things that we're seeing statewide. Every parish is having some of these same rules. Okay, some of our successes, we have had a huge increase in our population. The chancellor mentioned it. When I started here 4 years ago, we had right at 500 kids, and now we're averaging 1,000. So we have seriously increased. Our graduation has increased. A big part of it is our certificates. I make a point of every one of my kids that gets an associate's degree will also earn a certificate. I make sure they have the right electives to ensure that they get both. So at our graduation, those students' names, like Mr. Campbell's son, when they said Greg Campbell, they say Greg Campbell, Associate of General Studies, Certificate of General Studies. They are announced for both. They get both of them. We have a specific graduation only for our kids. So they are not mixed in with the regular students. It is the exact same graduation. It is set up the exact same way. All of our superintendents, our principals, they are all invited. We will invite the board for the next one. So y'all will have an invite and y'all have reserved seating. But this allows our kids to have more tickets because our graduations as a whole, our population as a whole has increased. So our graduation, we are bursting at the seams. So we are doing it separate. The kids are able to have more tickets for their parents to come. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, what's a general studies certificate?
General Studies certificate is 30 hours. So basically it proves that you have completed your freshman year of college. Okay. I like to tell the kids, grand scheme of life, it's probably not going to mean anything in 3 years, but right now, super important. It's proving that you get to spread your tops and whole extra year if you so decide. But it looks really good on a resume when you're going after those internships and student worker jobs and you're competing with another 18-year-old. Okay. So for our kids, that's not going to mean much for very long, but in that immediate moment, but it's also a bragging right. It lets that kid have that moment for graduation to prove that they did more dual enrollment than that other kid next to him that only did 1 class. So it's a big thing for me to have that moment for these kids. But as a parent of a kid that's in college, those internships, that's some hot stuff right there. Like they fight for those. And my child's on her second one and she received her associate's degree. That was a big thing when she went for her student worker job, her first job, when she got to LSU, that she had that compete with somebody else.
And if you don't mind, the Associate of General Studies certificate, we're actually probably going to look at the nomenclature of that because for us, that's almost like a basic employability certificate. Because the student has had English, they've had speech and communication. It addresses all of the soft skills or a large variety of the soft skills that we hear, and I'm sure you all too, anyone that works with a business and industry advisory board, is that's one of their biggest issues. I mean, they need the person with the technical skills, but it's the soft skills that we all hear about over and over.
Yeah, it's not just 30 hours, it's 30 specific hours.
Yeah.
So they have to have the 2 Englishes, 1 math, 1 science, a humanity, a social science, and art, and then they'll get like 3 electives.
And just one more point, it's to her credit, Alicia's credit. It's the specificity of it, because that's how our program differs than other dual enrollment programs that are happening all across the country. We're a member of Achieving the Dream, and when we talk about our dual enrollment program, it gets a lot of attention. It's because of the care and the guidance and the advising that our students get, that they're not just taking a hodgepodge of random credits that may or may not assist them in transfer and later on. So,
And we have
interrupting.
No, you're good. We have that conversation with the kids. Like we have that talk every time they come in. What school are we going to next? And I am, because I'm gonna mommy them. I am mommy on campus, and it's, if they're wanting to go out of state, why? Why are we giving up TOPS? Okay, why are we giving up scholarship money? What is your reasoning? If you're gonna go to this college over this college in the state, what's your reasoning for that one? And I'm a big proponent for the kids staying local to wherever they live. Because free housing is important, and mama making you suppers for the next couple of years is super important too, because that's the worst thing about growing up is figuring out what's for supper. So we have those conversations every advising meeting. All right, so just kind of give you an idea of our commencement. These are just our honor grads. These are our summa and our magna cum laude students. So there is a huge group of them. On average, our dual enrollment students will overachieve our regular freshmen in their GPA. We also have, this is part of the high school in me. So for those of you that have not met me before, I was 20 years in the high school setting before I did this. So high school babies are my jam. It's what I love. I have a screw loose or two. We do a banquet for our kids because when I first started, we didn't have the certificate. So my kids that had that 30 hours, they had done a lot of work and they were not getting recognized for it. So I wanted that brag moment for them. I wanted that academic award ceremony like you have in high school. So any of our students with 30 hours or more of dual enrollment, that includes dual enrollment from other colleges, okay? So I have lots of students that are with Sewella, they are with us, they are with BRCC, they are with McNeese. I had one graduate 2 years ago. She had 5 colleges on her high school transcript. God bless us all. That was a nightmare. But if they got 30 hours of college credit with a 3.0 LSUE GPA, they qualify for this banquet. I am literally bursting at the seams at this point. I don't know if this past year we would have fit one more person in there, but they receive a certificate. If they get 48 hours, they also get a cord for their graduation. And every one of my high school principals has agreed to allow the kids to wear that for their high school graduation as well. So that's a big thing for me. It's kind of my deal. But like I said, GPA, our GPA over here is a big plus for me. Dual enrollment students in fall of 24, GPA averaged 3.3. Our first time freshman students averaged 2.3. So we have kids that are not only doing this, but they are succeeding on a high level. Big thing, and I talked about it a bunch because I'm so super excited for these kids. First time ever since I've been here, we had 3 students from Acadia Parish. I don't know why they all managed from Acadia Parish, but they did. 3 different schools from Acadia Parish. They actually did their general studies. 1 did a certificate, 2 did an associated general studies, but they finished their prereqs for our allied health program, applied for the allied health program of their choice during their senior year of high school, and they got accepted. One of them got her acceptance phone call while she was in the Bahamas on her senior trip, and she started school like a week later. You know, no summer break for her. But we have 1 in Rad Tech from Crowley High School, 1 in nursing from Iota High School, and 1 in nursing from Church Point High School. And just a little plug on the one from Church Point, kind of give you an idea of the grit that these students have. The one from Church Point was taking anatomy in the fall. Okay. She had to take anatomy and phys. She's taking anatomy in the fall. Her father died the weekend before, unexpectedly, was not sick or anything. He just didn't wake up. Died the weekend before finals for her labs. She had a friend call me because she couldn't speak because she was too upset. Wanted to know if she could take her lab final late because she didn't want to miss her daddy's funeral. And I'm like, baby, we do an odd. We're going to take, but the next week she showed up for all of her regular finals and she had her 2 lab finals done that second week. But this child was trying to figure out how she could still do her daddy's funeral and take her final for her lab. She was that determined. These children have a different level of determination and grit. Okay. So the other big thing we do is I do a counselor collaboration. Okay, I have always had the belief and the philosophy that teachers are the best thieves in the world. Okay, we love to steal a good idea. So I get a day set up at the beginning of the fall semester where I invite all of my counselors and my district people to come in. We talk about LSUE dual enrollment, and then we have a free for all for about 2 hours of helping each other figure out how to navigate this, especially for my counselors that have multiple colleges that they deal with. That is an organizational nightmare for them. So we have this moment for them to ask me questions. It's really good for my newbie counselors, and let's be real, we have lots of them. Dr. Ellender sent me a whole list of a whole lot of new ones for next year. So we have lots of them. It's nice for them to be able to talk to others and get ideas of how to organize this, how to help the kids, how to help those mamas that are just as anxious, especially the mamas that never went to college. You have a huge chunk, and I can promise all of my counterparts that are in the audience right now, they can say the same thing. You have a huge chunk of first gen college students that are doing dual enrollment. Those mamas are more nervous than those kids are. I see it every day. Those mamas are having a panic attack. The kids are all, I'm ready, but the mamas are nervous. So this is a huge thing for them to be able to figure out how to deal with that. Part of the collaboration, I go to all my new schools. I go to all my current schools. Anytime they ask me to go, we do parent nights when they ask. All of my counselors, which was stupid on my part, but it's come in handy. They all have my cell phone number. And when I say stupid, I went on a cruise last spring, and one of my counselors called me at 8:30 the last night to drop a class. And she's like, Alicia, is today still today? I'm like, I'm in the middle of the Gulf at the bar at the casino. Yes, email me the drop form. Today is still today. So yeah, working on the cruise, but they all have my cell phone, and yes, your cell phone works in the middle of the Gulf. All right, the other thing we do is we have an academy boot camp, and I know it's a little hard to see, but that picture on the bottom shows all of our new academy students. We do an in-person orientation for them, make sure that they understand what they just signed up for. And I have current academy kids give them what I call the good, the bad, the ugly. Okay, this is not high school honors. This is college. So I have, Mr. Campbell's son was there last year presenting. I have the kids talk to them and explain the anxiety, the stress, the lack of time with your friends, all of the bad that's going to come with this, but then all of the good and everything that they've gotten from it that will come. And I tell them, I don't get paid on commission. So if at the end of the day, you don't want to do this anymore, Miss Alicia, I don't want to do this anymore. Last year, I literally had a girl, Miss Alicia, I think I'm just gonna do one class. I don't think I want to do this. All right, we're good. I need you to do whatever is gonna make you happiest and calmest and most successful, because I can't have you so stressed out because you try to do adulthood so early that you don't want to do college later. Then we've defeated our purpose.
Right.
I need you to continue later. So we're gonna do a full day. They're gonna go take a tour of the campus with their schedule. They're gonna go find their classes. They're gonna get their IDs. They're gonna get the whole experience like a traditional freshman. I need them comfortable. But it's like I tell them, even if you forget everything and you get lost on the first day, we're a 2-year campus, 50% of the students lost. Everybody's lost. So we're all good. So parents are invited for that day as well. Melinda, did you do something? Pretend back to you. We're gonna pretend.
It goes to sleep. There you go.
All right. Okay, so advising supports, we talked about this on our tour. So our academy students meet with me every semester to discuss their classes that they need for high school, the classes we need for their degree, what their future plans are. I then send this plan that they've agreed to, their parents have agreed to, then we send it to the counselor. The counselor goes through, makes sure that high school is taken care of. Good plus with my background is I was a counselor, I was an assistant principal, like I got that, but I don't mind having second and third eyes looking at it. Especially when I have 1,000 of them that I look at. DE students are normally guided by their counselor, but the DE students have the right to email me or call me, and they do, to get my advice based on where they're gonna be going next. Counselors are sent midterm and final grades, just sent yesterday midterm grades for the summer classes. If a student has a D or an F at midterm, we start talking to the kids. Hey, what's going on? Do we need to drop the class? I tell the kids all the time, there is no reason to ever, ever, ever take a D or an F in a dual enrollment class. You have plenty of time to take them later on. We don't need to take them as a high school student. So we'll talk about what they need to do, tutoring, talking to their professor. That's a big part, withdrawing, whatever needs to be done. Counselors are also sent unofficial transcripts for every one of their kids if they so request. Dr. Ellender requested at the end of the year. So we sent an unofficial transcript for CUME folders to every counselor in St. Landry Parish for every one of their kids, and she has a lot. She has a lot. So the academy students, they will meet with me for everything. We'll do Zoom, we'll do phone, we'll do email, whatever happens. Because needless to say, not everybody's coming into my office. They don't all live within distance. Tutoring is a big thing on our campus. It is one of my biggest prides for this campus is how much tutoring we have available. We have peer tutoring. We have professors that are in the library waiting for students to come ask for tutoring. We have professors that do Zoom tutoring. We have Net Tutor, which is a huge expense for us, but tuition goes towards that. And Net Tutor allows students to actually submit their English paper and get revisions back, submit math problems and get advice back. And especially with the English, I tell the kids, use it because that is not considered plagiarism. Using your mama is, so they can use legit. Peer tutoring, big point of pride for me is last year, all of our peer tutors were actually academy students. So big deal having high school students that are actually tutoring traditional college students. Okay, some of the challenges, school districts finding the funding. That's a huge one. Time constraints, because there's 1,000 children and there's only one of me, which means there's 1,000 moms and only one of me. And the biggest is the last one, making sure that the kids are doing dual enrollment because they want to do dual enrollment and not because mama wants a Facebook brag. That is never a good scenario that happens. And I can normally tell you real quick which kids are not going to enjoy dual enrollment. They may succeed and they may have A's, but they're not enjoying it if they're doing it because mama wants them to do it. Okay. Some of the benefits. Biggest thing for me is the kids that don't know what they want to do, they can try a bunch of electives and figure it out. Okay. I've got kids that they want to go into criminal justice and they take 2 classes. I don't like this. Okay. I want to be a history teacher and then they take 2 histories. I don't like this either. Okay. This is your time to try it when you're 16, not when you're 21 and actually spending huge amounts of money on it. The other thing is it gives them a background and a way to figure out how to do college when they have a support system. A lot of our students, those 4.0 students, those ones that we always think are perfect for dual enrollment, they're not necessarily the perfect ones for dual enrollment. I find those 2.7, 3.2 kids, that's your good ones, okay? That's the struggle bus kids. They have always been on the struggle bus. They have worked. They know how to work. Okay? I have 2 girls. I never worried about my oldest one going to college. I knew she was going to make it. That child had been on the struggle bus since kindergarten. I had helped that child with homework all the way through high school, all the way through McNeese. I helped her through I Teach. I'm so tired of homework. And she talked about her master's the other day. I'm not ready for homework again. My youngest, on the other hand, was the one I worried about going to college. That one I stopped helping with homework in 1st grade. She always knew. She was always good. She never had to ask for help. She had to do the academy because I needed her to hit the struggle bus. I needed her to hit it hard. And she did in Dr. Hamlin's class. She got her first B ever. But she figured out how to deal with the stress. She figured out how to deal with the anxiety. And she figured it out while she had mama down the hall, her counselor at Eunice High, and she had her advisor that was here at the time because I wasn't here yet. When they figure it out with that support system, I'm not worried about any of my academy babies going off 2 and 3 hours away from mamas. They have figured out how to college. They know how to email a professor. They know how to talk to the dean. They know how to ask for help. Okay. They know their rights as college students. They know what happens if they get called by the dean of students for plagiarism or whatever else. It happens. We sit in those meetings, we go through, we understand, and we move on. But they have done that. But they have this huge support system saying, you got this, you can handle it. When we got our first B, trauma ensued in my house. The world came to an end. Life was over. And you know what? She figured it out. And she's off, and we're good. The other thing, and it's a big thing for my parents, is making that scholarship money last longer because they've finished so many classes with us. Okay, so we have St. Landry Parish is one of my biggest partners, and like I said, Dr. Ellender is probably one of my hardest working people. So you can see St. Landry Parish, the amount of graduates that they had just this past year. I think 2 of their kids actually won Bingle Excellence Awards here on our campus. One of her students, 3. Yeah, it was Bishop, Sophia, and Greg. I told y'all he had a great kid. I've actually emailed him and his wife. Amazing job. And I'm gonna be honest, like Bishop I really wasn't sure if the child was gonna make it. Like, I really wasn't when he first started. And I'm so glad I was wrong. He was such an amazing little individual. It's the only way I can explain him. He's just a little individual. But he won our Business Student of the Year award for the whole school, you know? And Greg won, here's what was, that one was different. What did he get?
Savon.
Yes. Savon. I forgot what his was. So Fee got the General Studies Student of the Year.
Oh, yes. Yeah, special honors.
Yeah.
Award. Yes,
Greg got a
everybody
special honor.
across the stage, yes.
So with St. Landry Parish, they do a couple of things that some of my other parishes do not do. They have a transportation option, so the kids can actually get on a bus. They have 3 different bus stops. The kids get on the bus brings them over here. I make sure their schedule matches the bus. The bus will then bring them back at the end of the day to the bus stop, and then the parents can get them to their high school for the last 2 hours of the day to finish up their high school requirements. That's a huge deal. And Dr. Ellender has been our go-to for a couple of my parishes. She has actually written a couple of fast forward degrees that we have. So for that, the parish actually pays more than they do for their regular associate degrees. They will actually pay for books and online fees and summer classes if the kids are doing fast forward. So that is for our ag pathway. We actually have a student that is starting his 2nd year on ag. I've never had one get this far because it's much harder than they expect it to be. CIT is the most popular that her kids do, and that's our computer information technology degree. And then elementary ed, they actually had their very, very first one. She is going to be part of our 2+2 with UL. She finished the first 2 years of her elementary education degree while she was in high school. So this poor child will become an elementary school teacher at the age of 19 and a half. Thank God it's elementary and not high school. But she is our first one. She will be ready to start, UL actually comes to our campus to finish the elementary ed, over here. So if y'all have any questions for Dr. Ellender and Mr. Campbell.
If we have questions, but you want to tell us a little bit about maybe what has worked well in dual enrollment? What are the challenges from your perspective for the task force?
One of the biggest challenges, and Alicia said it multiple times, is funding. When I first started many moons ago, technical dual enrollment was $35 a credit hour and academic was $50. And there were certain colleges where it was 0. Like you didn't pay anything. And at that time, like literally, the sky was the limit. I did not, you could take as much. We did not feel like, we did not limit kids. We didn't limit them on what courses they took, how much they took. We didn't have criteria, you know, we had the criteria for dual enrollment. Beyond that, we didn't police it. It was a happy time for me because kids were getting a true jumpstart in that sense, right? And then whether it was on, and I want to say, like, we had a lot on our own campus, as well as tapping into, this was even before the academy, tapping into online dual enrollment. What I've seen progress over the years, for whatever reason, price increases consistently, right? Whether I think technical is now $50 a credit hour, academic runs anywhere depending on that post-secondary institution from $100 to $300. And you might have a fee, and I'm not faulting anybody, it just is what it is. But at the same time, the funding mechanism has remained pretty much stable. That same pot of money competes with your Jumpstart Summers and all your other course choice options out there. So when I first started, we were able to literally take that money, not limit any child on dual enrollment, and still have a robust Jumpstart Summers program, giving kids $1,000 for completing the courses. Now it is a battle to be able to do both. And it really pained me. It had gotten to the point last year where I had my own task force of counselors. And we looked at, like, we pulled almost every dual enrollment policy that a district had in the whole state. And we met like probably 8 times before we made changes to pupil progression. And for the first time, we started limiting and putting criteria restrictive criteria in place. And it really pained me, and I could tell it pained them, right? Because I know that not all children are good testers, but it doesn't mean they're not ready for dual enrollment. But you have to do something because you're running out of money. And so if there's, I know there were a couple of task forces, I sat on them for textbooks, for like a universal textbook bank at one time. I don't know what happened with that. And we tried paying the textbooks one year against my better judgment. I learned real quick, your parents need some skin in the game in some areas, because then the kids literally, sometimes they don't put any effort if they didn't have to pay anything. With fast forward, because those are such rigorous degrees, not that anything else isn't, but when you look at the three we do, there's a lot of work involved. We find those kids are really dedicated, and we don't have as big a problem with paying for the books because they tend to stick with it. But I really wish there were a way, the magic solution, to figure it out so that everybody wins. But at the rate we're going, like, we just can't, like, we can't sustain it. Now, I will say, as a parent of an 8-year-old who told me this summer that she has to study her 3rd grade math before she gets in 3rd grade because she's got to go to college. I want that for my child, whether I have to pay for it or not, right? I want that for my child, but I also want it for everyone else's child.
Are you using SCA dollars from MFP?
Yeah, we do not have the mechanism to, unlike some parishes with bigger tax bases, to tap into general fund. So we do use the SCA, and to the tune that I actually went over SCA this year, and had to tip and to fund that out of my funds of $5,000, because even though we've limited, so what we did, we grandfathered, we're kind of phasing, this will be our last senior class that isn't limited on the number of credit hours, but they're limited to top dual enrollment if they're not in the academy or a fast forward degree. If they're in those, if they've declared the degree, it's on their IGP, we will pay for the classes toward their degree. And of course, we always still have the caveat as funding allows, just because, you know, I kind of laugh when you said about Acadia Parish. We are, one of the positive things we are seeing several parochial school students coming back in high school because word has spread that you can get your college paid for in the district. And that's a great plus. But my wish would be that we could, you know, have that money, have some money from somewhere. I don't know where.
What's your amount that you're spending a year? Do you have a sense of it?
Yeah, around, I think this year we had $500 and something thousand. And every dime went to dual enrollment. We partner currently with Sola CC, got it right. LSUE and Northwestern and LSUA. Yeah,
Okay.
Sola CC. They're not SLCC.
Okay, all right.
But those are our post-secondary partners that we have MOUs with currently. And some of that's because the better rates, you know, for online options or for, you know, I'm just being honest, shop around. You start shopping around. One of the great things I will say about LSUE that I don't find other post-secondary partners do with their in-person dual enrollment on their campus, they don't charge our students any fees. Like, it's straight, whatever we would pay for our teacher to dual enroll them, they're gonna charge us the same thing. And so, but they have an online fee that some of the other colleges don't. And so it just gives some more options, because what I always tell our board and my counselors, I'm gonna go shopping because I want every kid to have an opportunity. So if I can find a bargain and I'm getting the same quality, I'm gonna do it, because then I can give more students more opportunities. If I don't do that, then I limit the opportunities, and it's nothing against any post-secondary institution. I just want our kids to have as much as they can have, both in the technical realm and the academic. I don't want to limit any child. And I know, I'm gonna say no, I feel some districts say it's just academics and they leave out the technical. I don't want to do that because I know there are kids who will benefit from both and together, right? And when we start limiting, we hurt somebody.
One of the things that I really like about this LSU Dual Enrollment Academy is that it's provided my son, and not just my son, but all children with an opportunity and experience that they would not have gotten other than this opportunity that they've had through LSUE. And as Ms. Alicia stated, all those caveats that she stated that she does, my son was one of those kids who were in her office, who didn't listen to me, who needed a voice. But the support that they had here throughout the process was one that I'm gonna tell you, all kids just, they need to have that, and it's nurturing them, but yet still preparing them for what's to come. And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this experience, not only as a principal, but more so as a parent, being that my kid went through this for 2 years, and he enjoyed every moment of it. And every kid that I have at school that come, they tell me, you know, hey, I'm in college now, you know, and I'm doing it, and it's the real deal. As I said, the real deal Holyfield, and they enjoy it. It's just the experience that they had that really impresses me throughout this whole process.
I do love the statement that you made about figuring out how to college. I think it really is important that we continue to set a message that there's support for you. The high school diploma is the floor, not the ceiling for you, and get on a path. Get on a path that meets your aspiration and your interests, but be intentional about being on a path, right? Other questions or comments?
I have a statement and a question for Ms.
Yes.
Alicia. So being a principal on this,
Yes.
on this task force for a while, I think all these things we're hearing are definitely the great work that we have accomplished. We've seen growth, we've seen opportunity that didn't exist before, you know, we started this great work. Certainly there are challenges. I think that will give us more things to, you know, add to our plate of things to work on. But certainly we have seen from the high school perspective how this is definitely benefiting our children. So again, thank you to my counterparts, but definitely it's been a blessing to be a part of this great work. Ms. Alicia, my question for you is the associate's degree available fully online? Or is that only available for students who can come to campus?
We have 5 that are available fully online.
5 associate's degrees
So we
that are.
have general studies, humanities, social science, criminal justice, and fire science that are available fully online. I have a student just this past week from Rapides Parish. She is going to be doing the fire science with us. She's starting as a senior, so she won't get it as a high school student, but that's her plan, is to come here through that. And we are in the process right now of actually moving our CIT to fully online, and we are working with LSUA to make it a 2+2 so that they can actually get their associate with us and then continue after high school for their bachelor's with LSUA for the same degree. So we are in the process with a number of different colleges to do some 2+2, but CIT was a big one for me because a lot of my online charter school kids, they want that CIT. I mean, that's what their whole life is on the computer. They do high school on the computer. So they want that, but some of them live 2-3 hours away. It's not gonna happen. Some of my Terrebonne Parish kids are looking at the CIT, and Point Copee is actually going to start doing elementary and CIT on their campus with their kids because they'll be fully online. They're not driving an hour and a half over here. You know, so that is the one that is in the process of being moved to fully online.
Great, thank you. Other questions? Comments? Just phenomenal, really phenomenal work. And I do want to thank Dr. Araby for recognizing that we've been at this work and we've started, I think we've had Malin like a 60% increase in dual enrollment. 63%. So we're at 43,000 students. So we continue to be at the table trying to do the work, but I want you all to know our work is enhanced because we're able to come to campuses and hear exactly what is working and what is not, and to see it in action. So I do want you to know that we're grateful, but what you're sharing is, I've got pages of notes, and we're going to take it back to continue to try to improve. So thank you. Please join me in thanking this. Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Melinda.
Yes, I mean, what a great setup, Dr.
Segue.
Perry. I think you have set the stage for our next. Really, it's going to be a discussion activity and opportunity for us to have conversations with those that are present today. But before we just go to discussion tables and start diving in, did want to frame, you set it up perfectly to kind of talk about some of the things that this group has accomplished.
We didn't plan this.
So in your folder is the handout of recommendations. And I know in the audience, we don't have extra copies, but this is actually on the Board of Regents website. And so just wanted to, I know we have some new members to the task force today. Wanted to kind of anchor in some of the work of, we'll work to get some copies out. There's actually some on some tables, but in 2020, so this group started in 2019. In 2020, this group put out its first set of recommendations, and a lot of those recommendations were accomplished. It's I hope that you feel that this is a task force you come to and progress is made. A comment was made to me the other day related to task forces. Oh, task forces, and I'm like, no, task forces. Because you have the opportunity to not only look at the problem, talk about the problem, but hopefully create solutions and move the needle, if you will. So in your packet is in 2024, you set out, you kind of refreshed some of the recommendations of this group. You'll see we have some color coded. So for the ones that are green are ones where significant progress has been made. Ones that are more the yellow font, it's underway. Red, we're saying as a positive way of saying pending, it may be a little bit part. I'm gonna kind of very briefly walk you through a couple of these. On the first page, number 2, you'll see from the lens of statewide convenings. One of the recommendations was to continue to post statewide convenings. Happy to say that we recently held one in April at Southern. And we were grateful to have the National Alliance for Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships, NACEP, who you've heard from before, come and facilitate this workshop. We really are grateful that they're willing to come bring that national expertise. But I see several in the audience who were there attending. Their feedback is saying that liking the opportunity to continue to collaborate in person. This particular workshop, we asked that post-secondary coordinators bring their high school partners with them so that we're having table discussions kind of similar to what you see here in terms of talking through really opportunities for growth within their dual enrollment programming. So feedback is continue to do that work. So although we have this green as completed, that's a green completed, continue to go and ongoing in ways, whether it be in person or virtual convenings. The next one, if you flip to page 2, the commissioner already voiced over at the start. For the common application, progress is underway. We have 3 institutions already piloting. We have more than 10 that are going to be starting to pilot in this fall. And then, of course, we know that with the legislation, we're probably going to see a substantial uptick before fall of 2027. And then at the bottom of the page, as the commissioner mentioned, legislation as it relates to pricing, more to come. We'll definitely be bringing that up to date information to you as those conversations happen in between meetings. But if we look at page 3, at the top of page 3, this group brought forward the recommendation around advising toolkits. And so you'll see here on the screen just a screenshot of a postcard that we're going to be working to print and circulate in the fall. We actually brought forward drafts of the toolkit at the in-person convening in April, and I see some familiar faces who gave us feedback on that toolkit. So thank you. I see you, Allison, and thank you for sending your feedback because we'll have this up on the website soon. It's going to be a resource designed specifically for school counselors, but also designed for post-secondary coordinators. It's got checklists, it's got resources, and it's going to be, we're going to circulate it in a QR so we can constantly be updating it. And so looking forward to bringing forward, probably at your next meeting, you're going to have the postcard in front of you because we're going to print several hundred and go around the state, especially for LACRO articulations. I see a few people who are always at articulations. We'll be making sure those are in hand. So you can see checks, 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 but did want to frame just kind of also like, let's have a moment to sit back and talk about some of those other accomplishments. So in 2020, this group, dual enrollment policy revisions was really kind of one of the first big checks of this group. Really looking to modernize the dual enrollment policy, as Alicia mentioned, multiple measures, multiple different doorways for students to enter into dual enrollment, no longer just the requirement of a test score. Launched ladualenrollment.com in 2022. That resource is still available. We're actually behind the scenes doing a little refresh behind the scenes. Allison is leading. So in the fall, you're going to see some new pictures and we're working for, of course, ADA accommodations, but also just a general refresh based on feedback that we've received. So please continue to spread the word that resource is available. We're grateful for our dual enrollment coordinators who still send us those courses. We continue to upload. It's still around, ladualenrollment.com. And then the annual report, at our last meeting, Adam Lowe was here to walk you through the annual report. This has been published since 2020, and we hope that it serves as a great, hopefully you have your printed copy, but if you don't, it's on our website. But we're going to continue to refine and put together a resource that really has been really helpful for us to frame our policy and our conversations around ways to grow and continue to scale dual enrollment. Educator credential program. I see some of our LSU A&M friends who are part of the teacher credential program for dual enrollment. We've launched 2 programs at LSU A&M for first year English and post-secondary math. We also have the first year English at LSUS, and in the fall, Suno will be starting for their English. And so more to come. There was some funding available for up to about 30 teachers to have tuition covered for that program. And so really looking forward to bringing you continued update as it relates to the progress that those teachers are making towards being able to also teach dual enrollment. And then universal transfer pathways. In 2023, that legislation passed for 24 transfer pathways. And so as conversations as you think about that transferring from 2-year institutions to 4-year institutions, significant work has been made in that space and will continue to refine, but wanted to emphasize that that's been a heart and soul of the conversation of this group around transfer. And then statewide application. So Jeremy, you in the back, Suella, definitely want to extend his appreciation. He's been on, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know a lot of phone calls with institutions in the state to talk about their experiencing piloting Apply DE. And so we're really looking forward to seeing the impact that will have, because ultimately we want to make this process as easy to navigate for students, we also hope that it saves time for our institutions in the long run. That is a very fast, because I want us to get to the activity, but I don't want to undersell to Dr. Eric's point. The thread that's through all of this is an increase of 63% of participation since 2019. And so this group, started in 2019, has seen a 63% increase, but we know that it takes this room and so many people outside of this room to contribute to that growth. And so we recognize that it really is the dual to dual enrollment. The heart and soul of it is partnerships. The heart and soul of it are those relationships built, but we know that there's more work to be done. And so as much as we want to sit and celebrate those accomplishments, what I want our next activity to do is to look at those horizon topics. So I'm going to talking quickly more so for you to have more time for discussion, but we know that there are opportunities ahead. You've heard the discussion pretty clearly, like sustainable funding continues to be a thread that we hear from school districts saying, we want to scale access to dual enrollment. We're currently funding in insert scenario here, whether it's SCA, whether it's Perkins, but there is a cap. And we're seeing the cap being established in various ways simply because there is limited dollars. So we know that this is opportunities ahead as it relates to funding. And continuing to expand CTE was another thread that we heard. Conversations around funding and the CTE conversation are very highly interconnected. We saw in our most recent dual enrollment report, we actually saw a dip in CTE dual enrollment in this previous year. And so really kind of having conversation around how do we shift that? How do we adjust that? What are some things that can be done to change the direction of that conversation? And the teacher credential part is still there. We have a pilot we have started, but there's still more work to be done in terms of scaling access to instructors. This is another piece of feedback we receive. We want to scale. We have limited number of dollars, limited number of instructors, creating kind of a bottleneck, if you will, of scaling. And then advising. Alicia definitely gave so many great examples of advising in action, but that is a critical piece of the conversation. As students continue to have access to dual enrollment, how does that connect to their career goals? How does that connect to their goals outside of their high school experience? And then continuing to have a conversation around return on investment. I don't think I need to sell to this group the positive impact that dual enrollment plays for our students in Louisiana, but we're continuing to have conversations on how do we refine the data and look at that to be able to tell from a data perspective the story on the return on investment. So more to come, putting a pin in it and acknowledging that we have national data to support the return on investment. We already have data to say, and Alicia did a great job of highlighting something that we see at the state level. Students who go into their first year, 4-year experience that have dual enrollment, they're doing, I don't want to say better, but GPA wise, yes. And they also have a decreased time to degree. So lots of positives that we can see continuing to wanted to be able to communicate that in terms of the return on investment of UC students that participate in dual enrollment. I talked quickly because really what I wanted to anchor us in is conversations also around this. Mr. Castillo, I'm happy you're able to join us because I wanted to pull us back to the Board of Regents and Bessie have a joint goal. And it's that every student beginning with the class of 2029, so those are currently sophomores if I'm doing my math correctly, graduating high school with some early college credit, whether that be through dual enrollment, whether that be through advanced placement or CLEP. And so I wanted to sit and just remind everyone that with the graduating class of 2025, we had 76% of those seniors graduated with some college credit. And the largest program that which students earn early college credit is dual enrollment. So wanted to really anchor in the fact that we're seeing that 76%. How do we, or what do we, as you have your conversations today, rooting that in that 24%. If we were to scale to get to that 100%, to get to that goal of the class of 2029 graduating with some college credit, what are the things that we need to do in order to get there? And so your activity today, so pretend that we're writing the report today, everyone's authoring a page, right?
Yes.
So if you were writing today, what would be the recommendations to increase student participation and strengthen dual enrollment? So as you look ahead, what would be the new iterations of those recommendations? So today we're going to do some tabletop activities. So this is going to bridge conversations of this task force with the conversations of dual enrollment coordinators who have had at workshops around 4 topics. Now this list could have been 10, but let's be real. We're going to start with 4, but if your conversations go in other places, that's okay. The teacher in me is going to let you do what you would like to do. If I was in the classroom, I would be reminding you of expectations, but we're not. So group 1 is going to be talking about student access and success. So as we think about that 25%, what are the things that we can do to scale that 25%? What are the things that we can do to support students with disabilities? What are the things that we can do to support students that are in rural communities, more suburban communities, having conversations around student access and success? Group 2 is going to be having conversations around advising. Alicia, if I was to tell you where to go on a group, I hope you will join that table. But advising navigation and student experience, because we continue to hear the theme that advising is a critical piece to this conversation and what can we do from a statewide perspective? Is it statewide guidance on advising standards for dual enrollment? Is it, I'm going to stop putting ideas in your head, but a conversation around what are the recommendations there? And then the heart and soul of a lot of the conversation that you've heard today, technical dual enrollment and workforce alignment. How do we have conversations around we're seeing a dip in CTE? What are the recommendations that we can do to see an uptick of CTE DE? And then for our big dreamers who are like, I don't even want to talk about 2027. I want to talk about 2030 and 2035. what are the innovation, what's some big picture future of dual enrollment? That table is for the people who want to just have really big idea conversations. If you want to dig into like AI, that is big picture recommendations that maybe that table will see things that we haven't even thought of. But don't worry, there's some articles with some ideas, but it's got some great shout outs to Louisiana in there from CCRC. So what I'm going to do in just a moment, the teacher in me is going to say, when I say go, you're welcome to leave your stuff at the table. We are a little bit limited on time, so we're going to go at our tables until about 2:45. At about 2:30, we're going to be pretty quick to say you need to be markering on your board your 1 to 2 recommendations. So you can have a great conversation. Your facilitators will guide you in some discussion questions, but at a certain point, you got to get to what are we going to recommend, okay? Because remember, you're writing your report today with your 1 to 2 recommendations. So when I say go, you're going to go to your table. Our members of the public, please pick your table. If you're like, I don't want to move, I want to stay here, you're welcome to. We may have to join some tables. Yeah, if you're in the middle, you can pick. Go to the table that works well for you. I will ask if everyone goes to the advising table and no one goes to the innovation table,
Gonna make him.
the teacher and me will make some suggestions. So I am going to kind of break you up, if you will. So in the front is student access and success. In the back is technical dual enrollment. Up front here is going to be advising. And in the back with Leanne is going to be innovation and dual enrollment. So for my task force members, you have pre-assignments. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you where to go. So you're gonna work with your table, you're gonna have guiding questions, you're gonna start with like just a general conversation. But your goal is to be prepared to share out your top recommendations. You will get a 10-minute reminder. That's when you need to be pinned to pad and be prepared to share out, okay? Any questions before I give you your assignments? All right. At table 1 up there with Dr. Michelle Folliner, who's going to be facilitating, you're going to have some Regents members guiding you, is Mr. Marcus Thomas, Ms. Carol Towell, Ms. Patrice Antoine, and Susanna. I may have to float to another table. Group 2 is going to be Dr. Araby and Ms. Julie Stokes, alongside Allison Bickner and Yari. Group 3 is going to be Dr. Reed, Dr. Ernie Singleton, and Miss Virginia Mays joining me at the technical dual enrollment and workforce alignment table. And then in group 4, our big thinkers is going to be Mr. Preston Castile and Mr. Barry Irwin. And Aaron, if you want to join on Zoom, I can carry you over. Any questions? And our public members are welcome to join at whichever table they would choose. Just help us out. And if everybody goes to the same table, maybe a little hard. Any questions? All right, there we go. That's good.
Whatever you want me to put.
I'm gonna see if.
Sharp, all right, just wait to see. Is that what they did?
All right. Somebody.
Sticky notes.
That's just if you want it.
Oh, we're not really writing on the paper itself. There's no recommendation. We can stick it on. But if we only have a few that provide them.
Has he been
Yes, she's awesome. Casey is one. It's very down to earth.
For 3 weeks.
There you go.
My name's Jeremy. I work at Suella.
It's fine, I just.
The agenda.
All right, man, I'm gonna have a lot of time. Yeah, it started.
I'm so sorry, I'm sure in there somewhere it is.
Well, you can, however, these are the toolkit. Coordinators and we'll buy still in the draft with you.
Glenn, are you sure? Okay.
It's really gonna help us.
That's good.
They're not gonna be.
I'm really short on.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't embarrass.
Where's our leader?
Have a lot of student. Right. That's their plan. She was just talking about the has some. Information about talking about, especially for public members.
We update it, but we change. it.
So.
Other than that, I've got a couple of nurses that make it.
We're gonna talk about,
So hopefully we get the next, next years. Every year.
So at the center, Susanna Craig, just help with that leadership.
She was very recommendation for that Facebook out. Right, so our first question, and I'm just gonna help. Have a little extra question here. I don't think that was so.
Well, today I'm gonna be for the.
Information and advice.
I'm gonna give questions and every like the conversation goes one way. Ultimately, our goal is to use support into paper, 1 to 2 recommendations. Scaling you know, that's the.
I mean, that's the.
We're gonna start
with
with
plan.
questions as it relates to.
Even if that plan is.
let's roll then.
Okay.
I wanted to
To begin with,
I did kind of
what
frame it.
barriers can you do
You're like, what else? Pattern of.
Right, so. Yes, so if they.
Should there be a common student orientation?
That's part of the report, kind of give.
No, you're the ones from, y'all are the only ones from the district.
For us, it's the finance, it's the funding.
So it goes to about, and I know we were saying that, like, we don't have really,
Part of it is.
but I wanted to at least start from saying like,
Yeah, we're able to pay for everything at this point, and then now we're just at.
Better ways, because it is.
really just gonna go out there, like, what are the barriers that are, you know, obviously, I know it's not free talk, so it's.
And then those, my daughter.
So I.
Big guys, yeah.
Well, we can do it, and we are that primary, so she's arrived.
So we have high at-risk population, so that access to our.
We're writing about. You are doing enrollment, policy. And so anyway, so they decided not to do that, but then she takes further.
Are there any title funds that
Put those areas.
As
It is on
the
both
federal
ends,
right, so it's not.
Really, and then this lot of children might have opportunities I had to expect.
It's not just as a.
I understand.
Not all.
We're looking at $3,000 deficit. starting at-
Right, but even that, you know,
And that
Let's look at those things.
Every child person, but
If
that just is not
necessarily.
What they.
Validated skills and learning this, so.
Some of the districts say no.
So they have-
Right out there, that there are some.
Which
You.
that is learning.
All.
Get a credential. So,
Or you're like, we can't ask for that now, because this is.
I, what?
So be 18, so getting fresh funds.
So reason increase in funding in the SBA,
Because
that would be.
looking at that.
For waivers, well, like this kid, and not this kid.
Yes.
He didn't say, I know that.
It puts those accounts.
But there, but it's not, like, you're not giving solid, you're giving, different waivers,
Yes.
that are not giving college.
I did us the you. When I first saw it, I need to have.
So the little bit is for us to.
And I know we have.
Realizing, I don't know, they don't know. Very active, small, and then. We are. So we do have, for the task force member.
Right.
Clerk.
Many students.
Counselor state that when it was.
How much is so definitely provide certificate and then some of our validated skills can learn. They were mostly elementary and they had a lot of kids with a lot of potential.
Agreed.
Sitting in a regular class.
Agreed.
Validated, and so we really want to come and work with our guests. And make it not studentful, they were.
There's gotta be a recommendation around this.
So like I,
Yes.
picture one school is, they were.
I'm Julie Stokes, I'm on the commission for elementary.
It's not fiction, it's that requires an additional, I already know the data, I said, I will provide you, if I get a parent of and they say, I want my child to do X, Y, Z, I will, but I will write it. So you.
Okay, so go back to that.
They have, I don't have to, restrictions in the district.
Level.
I'm wondering too, though, and how much is right?
No.
Because it seems to me what you were talking about is the academic.
The workforce.
And are students not being.
I mean, they can, but there's just not been a conversation.
I think you're right.
About the CT.
Okay, say that
It's
again.
not kind of making all kind of, but it's a right. Like counselor, you know, administration, principal, understand that.
Summer, you can use summer.
That I wrote myself a note. Because I didn't even realize. I don't know what you're in the track.
We give them information on how to.
There's a recommendation around, there's something there, right, it's not.
If y'all doing welding in the summer, like.
Board of Regents or house.
Oh,
That is my baby. It's up on my.
Available.
That's good. I feel like I'm like,
It already did a revamp and I love the board.
So like,
Don't jack with it.
Like,
It's
now.
So we get back to all this information on how to like the first way.
Yeah, just statewide advisory.
I didn't know that. Like school district. Why are you leaving? Like how should I yourself? Why are you leaving? Like that.
yeah, I,
Okay.
yeah, I think that actually makes a lot of.
Makes sense. So that is
Really
all.
reach out.
For the, given that.
Something back here.
They're saying for the funding. Funding, like Philip.
Like, we kind of had to get to.
Yeah, so I mean, what you could maybe have a certain set of questions.
No, I'm like, and then is that the right, is that?
No, we've been in
That the right situation, like, you have to cover, like, they're defined, they're
added to
first.
the application that you're now.
Anything else.
You know, that could be, the survey, that's that application.
And ideally, this is like 2 semesters. Here it is, important to play.
Yes, yes.
So it's like the same
And I
year.
think that's all of them.
But for the conference,
Who want to use it,
and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know.
So.
Get that potential.
Right, so we like.
Not I hate it.
There is a formula.
It's some of these.
Yes, I'm.
I got my master's and I'm working with kids too. So.
And it's gonna
Foster majors for me.
But my NC,
I'm 3,000.
And so how much dual enrollment would that spend? Cover?
Most of it goes on that. They put it as dollar a little bit in that comment. Well, they look a little bit between not that. Because it's gonna be right with class. So let this see, because class on that now is right in cover, it's not, it's branch out and over there, think it in my, yeah. But even if I'm here, so that doing the counselor or someone who does. So it's kind of.
Anyway, so what's he seeing and I'm like, well, but basically, you know, when I hear.
The big gift of all my kids, I think one thing will help me this year,
But
Price
now, pricing, so we need that
Get that in the
funding
spot.
But we need uniform
And
price.
But it's not, yeah. And I will say, and sometimes it's a teacher, it's an administrator, sometimes it's different at the law.
As far as,
Well, there's
not that it's administrative.
But it's also.
But I gotta make sure, I'll say the same thing. There are uniform requirements to be eligible for dual enrollment.
Yeah.
That is out there, and
That's
we have
all
said
the-
that.
Yeah.
What you're saying is because the funding has not increased, but the number of students have done.
The number of students is increasing compared to the number of funding.
So you're having to
Yeah.
change your requirements to.
I've never got too big. I cannot get my kids that mention that I
You don't
want
get as
them to
much
be more.
funds either, which is really
Really
important.
recommendations, Jesus, my units, I don't.
And I'm sorry on it.
Right?
Oh, well, I'm not yet.
To me, it was.
How do you-
My second need.
Is our not
The one that hit me in the high school.
You're saying, and it's definitely
And then,
number one.
Talk to teenagers.
yes, that.
But also the uniform.
Yeah, it's still looking out, it's still figuring out how to do some of this, not
Let's not about it.
non-credit now validated skills. and
But maybe
learning.
it's something that's.
That we're
No,
not-
that's not gonna take up your-
Advising become more.
Now, what I'm saying with
Until
the-
the drawing board.
Already credit, it's now temporary.
I don't get.
I don't have to see
That's what like.
There was a point in
Don't
time.
know the CC pathway, it's a connect.
Right, and so everyone would, like, we would have to.
Policy and advocacy.
Start trying to find it.
Like you always have.
I don't know
conversation
why.
about-
Some people don't get it.
And I think we're charged.
I'm not,
Because
my kids
have
have
this-
students, so they know.
Look at.
These
Certificates of work first, then they come to
And I
us.
put it in.
We know
They should just.
No, I don't know.
I don't know
that
they
you're thinking
Are
about
they?
it. I ain't got nothing
Yeah.
to
That.
You do.
learning.
You know,
It's gonna cost
you at all. That are at your.
Are they maybe
Yeah,
saying?
they-
That's. It might be saying,
But not, they don't give
the bottom line is tracking.
Given all of that. We have.
Yeah, I know.
Every, y'all provide us all this whole figure of what we did all.
You know what the high school size is. And that's just not an experience.
That's happening.
That's happening.
Yeah,
That's
that's
That they.
those that, those that are still want to tell them all those.
It's psychology. Yeah.
No, we have things that do that this year. This is the challenge. We are having
From the high school.
legislatures mandated.
Yeah, so you know, or, you know, and then they want to meet, which I get that, but at the same time.
It's so tight in how that. Yeah.
We have sort of.
Yeah, no, I don't like it. Signs.
We have to email but it also allows. Money to step
How do
in.
we say that
That's just they are.
funding for SEA funds?
So maybe
If they
Some kind of
realize. Detail. Our parents.
Yeah, maybe by funding.
I wanna go to university.
Find it, the legislature more.
Now, where, because I think that needs to be
We're talking more about evidence-based, reading, all of those things, so it's all this evidence-based that comes up, so we need evidence. More this.
Investigating supplemental.
Supplemental work allocation. So, I mean, it's when kids go like.
But that's the other thing is how many of them
You know, the core, whatever, and I can
see it's.
So if you have.
Or what an IGP.
Definitely increase in the
Middle
amount.
high school level, that's.
Yeah, but if you increase students' patience, you really have to look at the feasibility of the combined districts.
Because there's no.
There's
probably a good.
It's what any has to be have a decision or a recommendation by the December.
Yeah.
Is it using the structure
Yeah, so that like somebody who's dynamic and like take no, so that's a good time to. It's like, we're gonna get this done, we're gonna get it done quick, we're gonna get it done. We're gonna make sure.
And I can't get it. I can get the teacher's definition.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I think they really
Cross
enrollment
off
out of
cancel
cancel.
college math, like,
Yeah.
it's to go get certified, and it's not translated.
It's not translated to us.
Right, that's because of it.
Anytime
It's
that-
not, it's not, it always helps to get a
They want you to make them certain that.
But for us, Monday,
Actually, translating all the names.
So they
push late for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, her personality is piece, so, you know, and so I'm like,
Yeah, there's no need to take them back in that phrase where they all around.
you know, really just frank about it.
When I was in we had.
Like that crosswalk, that conversation is really that. I did earlier ask, I was like, could you help that?
Administrative, so we're saying like campus law or
It's something you usually, you said it. How do we?
PLA is different, is that means they have, but it's still a part of this conversation. It does have,
That's the.
using an academic job, on fast start, like they do further on their sophomore year. You say what it was.
The superintendent. I would like to have.
Working at it.
Some common sense.
I can't get it.
I don't wanna.
Yeah, how did we word that?
We got six songs and I don't know how we're wording this.
Yeah. It's not.
I mean, I guess they
Credit, but what it was for other piece, so it acronym, like it gives you credit, I figure out what's going on.
And Joe, that's the expectation.
Count for selection.
So it
principal
it's like
selection.
helps minimizing the.
It's not advertising enough. I think it's, I do have people reading a number of months. Now.
Yeah.
Like I had a class this past May graduated from.
To do the certification.
I carry, but this one little boy.
Discouragement over
And in Southern and Dallas College of all things.
So it's communicating.
I don't know. It's like I was also showed you. Is we all.
Well,
it's
it's
college.
Some demonstrators.
Yeah, right. He's planning to go to LSU. He's given more aeronautics or whatever, you know. I think just.
Our instructional leadership teams, it's put it on the job. Every.
Okay, but I'm gonna be honest, my group is an awesome opportunity, but too much information, we've been in a short amount of time. And it's.
And so
They are still summer like in their head, so they're.
Certified medical
They're
high
It's really
Yeah.
I
find they list the names.
Oh, yes.
The next question
Yes.
was, I'm trying to word it.
And I want to
Like
say.
what she was saying about, you know,
Actually,
About
it's like you
have
have
some
some
type
decision,
of-
barrier without giving them an
but
opportunity.
having a big.
We immediately say,
In the high school.
but it's something after.
Also who are in charge.
Like I said, educators that we are all.
Guys.
But that's not that,
High school.
Well, that's what you're doing. So like,
They have.
it's not, they had a policy and they took it on.
yes.
So, yeah.
I feel
Around with their counselor had that same thing, so within.
Everybody's in testing. School year in testing.
Success long and academic.
And that was just from last year.
I actually enjoyed that, was Basically, took shop.
That's right. That's right.
Dad became a plumber. I became a master. There's a cover.
If they're not required.
Say that.
About
They're also. You know, like.
And maybe.
That's my background.
Yeah. They don't have time.
Officially yet, but it's still.
Planning way in advance.
You can figure out the time, but then.
They say from wherever you want.
That are high demand times.
Work during their off time. You know, sites to go.
Round peg, this house, funding,
Limiting.
credit.
Right, yeah.
But what, how do we think that?
AI, lady tools, planner, but there are things out there that. Activities like.
So the time really well spent is that that's what I'm really figuring. It's not just I'm taking a breath.
Yeah,
That's selection. And then
What's happened is.
That's fine. It is. Yeah.
It just started the, a limiting of the selection of this where we run it. So they've increased. Criteria, because they don't get money. They're really.
That's one life is. Oh, series of things, I think I really have. So, yeah.
I know, so what I'm hearing is the connection.
So we do have an LA now.
They're coming to find a lot of it's driven by accountability. Scratch that question. So what I'm hearing is that it's not just really advertising, it's conversations and communication.
The bosses, the kids have the
Worse,
And so.
higher ed, school districts, it's already.
This is the thing.
I know.
It's got all done in our.
Funding, how to give credit, like what else?
Like it's a parent.
Funding. Is it all of the above?
That's not being in that they hire parent to get it. I think. We had a good job.
It's so hard to find.
I was very shocked. So
Yeah.
Do an Excel.
Yep.
If I just figure out how to get
Our program.
It's all different.
So happy.
Some people
They talk about all of those things that got.
Okay, see, I have my matrix and I share with you. And I'm like,
Statewide recommendations, so on the I mean, that was that I know it's a hearing is.
I was.
Tool, website, that encompasses, and like, all the transfers.
I think, okay, so the first thing I think we need to do, what we talked about adding, and some of those advising survey. What she. They're questions. Everybody can see.
Like a guideline.
Right.
In the toolkit, we're gonna have it, you're gonna have the. First gen parent,
Yeah,
to alleviate
like
concern, I'm sure.
all of kind of like here's the sample.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the sample letter, and here's the.
letter.
Right.
Here's the sample.
Yeah,
You know, like.
Right.
How to
Yeah.
do that.
Right, and I mean, they actually want to use them, if not, it's not mandatory, but they, they're to help guide you.
Right.
And they should graduate high school.
I would say the other recommendation.
Some kind of easily accessible countries type policies. Because there's two different high school courses, but I'm used to one, doing it as a junior or a
Those students who really want to high school.
Done. Actually, I'm gonna kind of round off and get everybody for one real quick. All right, we're gonna,
Oh, I know
Wrap
that
it up.
teachers don't know about this.
everybody share one recommendation, because I'm seeing more than one, which is great. We're gonna take all of you out.
Daphne or?
All right. Okay, we're gonna bring you back, because I want to respect your time. You came early, we're gonna leave on time. I'm gonna ask that each table just bear one recommendation. I know I'm seeing more than one. Well, one recommendation that you discussed, I'm talking 30 seconds or less. And don't worry, we're gonna take all of these notes and we're gonna bring this to our next meeting. I hope that you pick someone. I'm gonna see if Dr. Singleton is willing to share out for the technical dual enrollment and workforce conversation. Dr. Singleton.
So our elevator one is that we need to figure out how to provide credit for students who are going toward workforce. So a student who is going into construction and they are getting credentials or certificates at Suella or Dipsy in something with construction that does not necessarily translate to dual enrollment at the high school level. We need to figure out how to provide them credit on the high school level. So that could be a part of that, our 2030 and beyond goal of providing them credit.
Thank you. All right, Leanne, anyone at your table, are you willing to share out one recommendation from your group? One.
We talked about a lot of things. We started off the conversation talking about AI, obviously, and how we know it's not going away. We need to embrace it, but the institutions want guidance, especially with respect to dual enrollment students and how to have technology policies and statewide policies that will guide them on how to deal with AI and such.
Okay, thank you. Innovation and dual enrollment table, advising navigation and student experience table. One recommendation, I see
One of
multiple.
the biggest ones is to continue and increase our dual enrollment counselor post-secondary convenings so that they can really.
Yes, yeah,
have
needs our education.
common language and that, all the stuff.
Okay, thank you. And I'm hearing already with student access and success, maybe a theme here. What is the recommendation you want to share?
Well, the number one is funding. I mean, it's come up all day long today, but we've got to get our handle on the wild west that's going on with funding. And Marcus brought up a really good piece. The MFP task force is currently meeting and we need some increased funding in the SCA. It's a mechanism that is already there within the MFP and that needs to be brought to the task force because they are starting to meet like right now. So we were talking about Acadia and just based on the numbers of her district, I mean, they run out of money like well before.
Run out by the fall.
By the fall.
When spring semester comes, I'm begging somebody, Title I, general fund.
Yeah, I think this past year,
Yeah.
Christine Darzon, who is her CTE supervisor, Christine was for SCA funding. She was only able to put one school of their 5 high schools. They were only put one school had to use SCA
so what
and not the whole school.
So what happens is there's an inadvertent, there's an unintended consequence of the limited funding, which it creates an unconscious bias and limits student access because some schools are increasing, are making the eligibility requirements higher to allow, because that's the only way they can figure out the funding is to say, okay, well, you can only be in dual enrollment if you have a 3-2. And so anyway, then we've got work
They
to
start
do.
pigeonholing to the honors or the.
Yeah, only honor
We don't
students
really
can take
look-
dual enrollment.
Yeah.
And so it's really,
Right.
it's just not, it's our intent. So
Yeah.
anyway, so it's all connected.
Well, we are going to take these with us. We are gonna put this together, send it back out to y'all in the next week or, we'll get it back out to y'all. I realized what day of the week it was. But I would say, thank you so much for our public attendees. Thank you for coming and being a part of this conversation. This is like a part 1. November, we'll talk about this in more detail. So give yourself a round of applause for diving on Enrollment. Great, we're gonna transition back to formally close.
Oh, that's so glad you're right.
I'm here. We're gonna get it.
Thank you.
Questions, choice.
I know. I think all of our offer records are. Yeah. Right, yeah, just like. That's okay.
I get it. I do get it.
And
Better job,
you do.
publicizing. We want to hear what you have to know, so we can use Perkins funds.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yari, is there anyone signed up for public comment?
There are no public comments.
No public comments. Before I adjourn the meeting, and thank you all, I do want to share, at our breakout table, someone commented that this is the most effective task force that they come to. So that's a point of pride because you all know we have a lot of meetings to meet, but this is a meeting to get things done.
We do.
Right? And so I really do want to do a big shout out to thank you all for that, and certainly the audience participation, because practitioners come and they share and they engage, and that matters when it comes to getting good work done. So I want to thank everyone for their contributions. Want to thank the region staff. Want a big thanks to the LSU East staff, the chancellor, Alicia Fontenot, and the entire LSU team for their good work. The lunch was excellent, but was even more fun was seeing the point of pride of the person who had fixed the lunch for us, who insisted that we taste the dessert and
And the
that
bread.
take the, taste the bread pudding and all the things. So it's wonderful to see people who have such pride in their work and they knocked it out of the park. Okay, our next dual enrollment task force meeting is November 5th, 10 to noon. Location will be shared with you once we have that we land on that. So with that, is there anything else to come before the task force? Hearing no comments, is there a motion to adjourn? Okay, we have a motion and a second. I assume no discussion. We are adjourned. Thank you guys so very much. Safe travels. Thank you. Have a great summer. Rest of the summer.
Yeah, then they let home. I'm showing you.
We got you. Right, halfway got you started.
6 minutes early, got you.
I got to go
see my
grandkids.
Oh.
I saw you, 86.
No, no.